Hi, Wayne. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am great. I'm great. Still, staying home, sort
Li-
of,
Living the world of isolation.
living the world of isolation. It's
There you go.
really taking a new meaning.
That's for
So,
sure.
but hey, it's better to be safe, right? So,
That's exactly right.
anyways, I want to make this short and sweet. So, let's get right to it. Just very quickly, I want to introduce you to our audience at O3 Waterworks. And let's just explain to them who you are and how do you fit into this puzzle.
Fantastic. So I'm Wayne Lieberman, and I'm the CEO of Enozo Technologies. I have my little Enozo sticker on. And Enozo is the company that makes the technology for O3 Waterworks. We're a Boston-based biotech, clean tech startup company that's been around for 10 years. We've reincorporated as a new company as we were bought previously by a conglomerate. And now we're independent again, and we're looking forward to bringing our product to consumers.
Great, fantastic. So you say you are the CEO of Enozo. Let's explain to everybody very quickly. Enozo has a bottle, an industrial bottle that's been around for how long? Almost 10 years?
Yes, it's been around for a decade. It was under the brand of Frankie, which is a very large food conglomerate. And we made the technology 10 years ago to bring to food service in commercial restaurants and to hotels for maids. And the idea and the concept was to make a clean, greener technology for people to use. And we wanted to bring that to consumers. And we've just done that recently with our agreement with O3 Waterworks.
Fantastic. So just for you guys listening, Enozo makes a bottle just like our O3 bottle, right? But it's for industrial purposes. It's being used for a long time now. It's proven technology. And for all of those of you who are outside of the United States, Enozo is what you will search, and that's how you will get the bottle, right? Am I correct?
You are correct.
There you go. And if you have any questions and you can't find that in your market, just email them at Enoso and they'll find the link or a distributor wherever you are in the world and they'll help you get one of these amazing magic bottles. Okay, so now I want you to tell us a quick version of the story on why you went out searching for the scientists to make this idea a reality. Tell us
Okay.
about that.
Well, the short version is that many years ago, when my children were little, we went to a family event. And during that family event, they got very sick from salmonella poisoning. In fact, my entire family, since it was a Easter um, event, there were many people there, and almost everybody there got sick. And I didn't realize how bad foodborne illnesses can be and bacteria related illnesses can be until it affected my children. It affects their organs. It is a terrible thing. It is very contagious. So, whenever you're talking about bacterial diseases like salmonella, it's not a question of cooking things to the right temperature because once you're contaminated, you can spread it. It's very contagious. So, what happened was it wasn't just the people that ate the contaminated chicken, it was the servers that touched it and they touched the plates and they gave it to other people. So, there were people that didn't eat chicken that got
Yep.
salmonella. Once this happened and I saw how bad it was, I said, someday I want to do something about this. And my wife is asthmatic, so she can't use a lot of these under counter
The
chemicals.
traditional chemicals, yeah.
Exactly. She can't sit in a shower and spray mold in the shower because it makes her very sick. So the combination of things led me to think, well, there's got to be a better way. And around 10 years ago, I found some research and worked with a company that had done some preliminary research on taking ozone in a very safe level, very small amounts, and being able to produce it in a cost effective way. And I thought, well, this is great because this is a very clean and safe way to kill bacteria and some virus, to some degree, virus as well. We'll talk about that later on. But essentially, this was a technology that, if developed correctly, could be commercialized for consumers. I started a company. I recruited a bunch of MIT engineers and scientists, and I gave them the challenge of making something that's this big and making it work. And they actually did. And this is a picture of it. This is an electrolytic cell that they did and they developed. This cell is key because it allows water to turn into ozonated water. Now, what does that mean? It means that the water is active for some period of time to be able to, on contact, within 30 seconds, kill a bacteria or a virus that it is touching on that surface. And it's very effective at that. So that was really the concept. Could we do this? Could we do it and bring it to consumers? Could we bring it to industry? And it took MIT scientists to figure this out, but we did. And we were able to perfect the technology and bring it out into bottle form.
And it's safe. Let's talk about this. It is safe to be around humans and pets, all of the above. Like, that's the question we constantly get. Is this safe? Like, I get this question all the time. Can I spray around my dog? And then you'll have somebody be like, oh, ozone is bad for the dog. It could kill it if it's a small pet. I'm like, you're missing the point here. I always tell people, stop Googling ozone. We are aqueous ozone, and it's done in a safe manner. So can you explain that?
There's a big difference between ozone in water and ozone in the air. Ozone in the air, I mean, I always like to use the train analogy. Ozone in the air is, the pollutant in the air is like a big train with many, many, many cars. Ozone in water is a completely different concept. We're talking about parts per million that you're putting into the water. So the water content is still 99.999% water, but that little bit of ozone when we're talking about is, about 1 part per million is strong enough in 30 seconds to kill bacteria. So there's a major difference. So when you use the train analogy and you think about ozone in the air as the train, you can think about ozone in water as one bolt on one of the wheels of one of the cars of one of the trains. And you can even think about it as the threads inside of the bolt. It's that small in comparison. So it's very safe. And the other thing that's great about ozone is that it basically dissipates back into the air when it's done. So
aqueous ozone, right?
Exactly. Aqueous ozone just basically turns back into oxygen when it's done, and it's gone. It doesn't have
it does its job, and it disappears. And guess what?
There's no residual like you have with a chemical. When you spray a chemical on your surface, you still have that residual. You're still touching.
And by the way, I want to make sure while we're on that we mention the fact that we do it in 30 seconds. Now, I'm not going to mention anybody. I'm not going to start pointing fingers, but you guys should all go read all of the little small warning signs on your bottles where it tells you it takes almost 10 minutes sometimes for these things to work, right?
Yes. So, chemicals are very different. They put it in 6-point text on the back, and you have to read through the formula. You got to look through that little blue stuff to see what it actually says. But at the end of the day, it does take longer for them on contact. You have to wait. And I've never seen anybody wait 10 minutes before they wipe their counter.
By the way, I didn't, before I knew this technology, before I came into work with O3, I had no idea. First of all, they tell you to clean and sanitize before you use their product, which is so crazy. So basically, I'm like, wait, that makes no sense. So what I've been doing this whole time? Absolutely nothing. I've been leaving residue and damaging my surfaces and exposing my children and my pets to these things that could be harmful. And you guys have done extensive lab testing, because we also get that question all the time. Where's your lab? Where's your testing? Who did it? You guys have done this over and over and proven the DEC technology not only works, it's safe.
That's right. We spent, in the 10 years we've been doing this, we spent quite a bit of money and time and effort going to independent laboratories and having them evaluate the technology. We actually publish on our website many of the summary reports of the results that we have from the years that we've done this.
Exactly. See, that's the key, independent lab testing, right? So everybody wants to know that it's not on your lab. You did it in your lab, and you also went outside. And that's how you know this technology works, right? Like, you already knew it. You're just proving it to everybody else that somebody else had the chance to test this.
Yeah. So, but we do have a PhD from MIT that runs our.
I know, but lab. You know what? We're just giving it all the information. So, because listen, it's one of those things where until you understand what aqueous ozone is, and until you understand and you do your research, it's such new technology to us, the consumer now, right? It's not new technology industrially, but it is new technology. So you're like, wait, this is too good to be true. How come I don't know about this? How come no one else has done it? How come, it's just, it makes you think and
Well,
question, you
you
know?
bring up a good point. Why hasn't anybody else done it? Well, in fact, ozone's been in water for a long time. In municipal water, they use ozone to sanitize the pipes. They use ozone in bottled water. When they produce bottled water, they inject it with a little bit of ozone to make sure that the inside of that plastic bottle is sanitized. So it's been used for over 100 years. It's used in swimming pools. It's used in spas.
I have a ozone swimming pool, and by the way, you know what's crazy? I've had it for years. I didn't even know how it worked until '03, and until you guys taught me about the technology. The guy just said, this is the newest thing. This is what you should use. It has no chemicals. I'm like, great. You said no chemicals. I'll take it. And now I'm like, wow, how cool the way it works, the how it cleans everything naturally. It's pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
and I've been asked for, they say it's a magic bottle. What's the real technology? How does it work? And can you tell me in simple terms how it works? Ozone is a basically a corrosive chemical free, I want to call it, solution that basically takes and pierces the wall of a cell. So when you look at I just saw Saturday Night Live, they had the coronavirus hats on. They look like they look like Shrek antennas coming out of your head. But when you think about how those little antennas are connected to the virus itself, the SARS-CoV-2 virus, basically it's connected to a shell, and it has all those little Shrek heads coming out of it. But that shell can be pierced. And with ozone, since it's highly corrosive, it comes in and it pierces that shell. And it causes that shell to break open. When that shell breaks open, that virus dies, or that
Because it
bacteria
gets to the
dies.
brain, right? It gets to the main part of
It,
it,
it
and then it's
basically
over.
doesn't let them have an environment to live, because it breaks open that embryo, it breaks open that shell. So there's
Yeah.
no place for the virus to live or the bacteria to live anymore. And it does it very quickly. So it's called lysing. What happens is it just comes and it puts holes all in that shell and breaks it open. So that's what ozone does for that 7 minutes or 10 minutes that it's active before it turns into oxygen. It finds these cells and it pierces them and breaks them
I like
open.
it. It's
Exactly.
getting them all
And
with the water
that's
spraying.
how it works. So
Yeah,
is it magic? No, it's science.
of
But
course.
the fact that we're not a big chemical company and we're not trying to sell you ongoing chemicals. We
Correct.
don't sell a consumable chemical that you pay me $4.99 every month, over and
Yeah.
over and over and over and over,
Yeah.
right? So because of that, ours dissipates quickly. It does its job, it's gone. You fill it full of water, the bottle full of water, it goes back through the cell, and it constantly creates this ozonated water. So you're
Correct.
basically making your own solution by filling it with water as you go
Yeah.
along, and it passes through this cell, which is in the head of the bottle.
And by the way, I just want to point out that basically ozone does oxidation, right? For those in, like simpler terms that like people like me that are not the, like you, all the geniuses back there creating this magic. When you oxidate, which by the way, it is what bleach does. So we're doing the same thing. It's just that we're not chemical. We're not hurting you. We're not burning your skin. We're not burning your nostrils. We're not leaving residue that's going to be harmful, right? So, oh, like, wait, are you better? Yes, we are better because we do the exact same thing, but we do it in a safely manner.
And it works quicker.
And it works quicker. Exactly. Because even bleach, it takes longer than 30 seconds.
Right.
I don't know exactly how long it takes, but it's definitely not 30 seconds. Like we do on demand and the moment it touches the surface.
Yeah, I mean, you're using the right word. It's basically oxidizing the surfaces.
Yeah.
What it's doing, and I use different words, corrosive, oxidize, but
It's
it's
good.
the same thing. It's
Yeah.
effectively piercing that level
Yeah.
of whatever is live
Yeah.
on that
Yeah.
surface. It's killing whatever is
Yeah.
live on that surface by piercing it,
Yeah.
right? Oxidizing it
You
basically.
make it a lot prettier. I just say it touches and it blows it up. Imagine the little guy in the commercial, and then like its brain blows up and it becomes mush.
Exactly what it does.
And
That's
I
right.
like to always give examples of real things like the bleach and those type of things because we're so brainwashed our whole lives to thinking like the bleach does this. And when you get Lysol and it smells so good, that means it's clean. Guess what, people? That's just perfume. That doesn't mean you cleaned anything. By the way, I don't know if you saw, there's a video going around of one, like a natural product, you know, that people like to use. I'm not going to say the name of it. And they actually do a lab testing where they spray the surface and they spray. Sorry, did I lose you? Oh,
Number.
I don't know when to. Oh, sorry. Where they spray the surface with this natural cleaning, you know, solution, and after 10 minutes, some of those bacteria are still alive.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
You know, and I think I said to you the other day, I'm like, we got to show this. I know you've seen this firsthand yourself. I know that you have seen it in the lab. You've seen how your product works, but that's something that I would love to show people, you know, the fact that like we are doing what we say we're doing.
Yeah, there's actually something called an oxidation table that lists how powerful substances are. And if you look at, and this is all based on it being in the same concentrations, but if you look at ozone and you look at bleach, ozone is 3,000 times more effective than bleach in the same concentrations. So
Wow.
what they do with bleach is they give you a very, very high concentration, very high, so that it works quicker. Ozone, we're talking about parts per million. Again, think about 1 part per million being added to the water of a gallon of water.
That's amazing.
You know, and then you have to think about bleach. You're pouring a gallon jug of bleach on it, right?
Oof.
So the concentrations are dramatically different, but ozone is very effective. And, you know, you bring up the idea that it doesn't have perfume. That's because nature, you know, after a thunderstorm, you smell ozone. Ozone
Yeah.
has its own natural smell to it that dissipates very quickly. You know, whereas a chemical lingers in the air for a while, the perfume lingers in the air. Ozone doesn't. It's very much natural.
It is natural and it smells really good. For those, I know that not everyone can actually smell ozone, which is interesting. I happen to be lucky enough to smell it and I love the way it smells. Like now that I know what it is, there's some other technologies that I've tried with ozone and it's like amazing. You know, it's like that amazing, fresh, crisp smell that
Right.
now I've sort of brainwashed myself out of thinking Lysol and X, Y, and Z are what clean is supposed to smell like.
Yeah, and we
That's
always
like,
like to say nature does it best.
yes.
And ozone is part of nature.
And more than ever, I feel like we should be paying attention. I know that, I mean, if there's any time for us to really pay attention to the things that we're applying around our home, around our children, around our pets, the thing we're putting on our food, I mean, it's time to wake up. It's time to really understand how we are cleaning and sanitizing our lives, right?
Yep.
Because sometimes you could be cleaning things with the typical product that you buy at the store for $4.99. It might seem cheaper now, but in the long run, it might not be cheaper because you're smelling and you're inhaling all of these chemicals that could cost you something else later on. Especially, how about the people like your wife who have asthma or any other, you know, person that may have some condition that are sensitive to those type of chemicals.
Well, plus you're storing them. They're, you know, children can get to them, pets can get to them. You're
Now you
touching.
don't have to worry about all those cabinet, you know, when you kids were
Right,
little and you had to like lock all the cabinets.
right,
You can
right.
leave this bottle out, they can grab onto it, they can spray it, nothing's gonna happen. I
Well,
clean my dog's paws every time we go outside our house. I spray it, she'll lick it while I'm cleaning her paws. It's perfectly fine. Then I'll spray my hands a little bit. It doesn't matter. Nothing's gonna happen. It's not actually, I know that you're not gonna take this, and I know you're not gonna like say use it. But when I actually spray my hands, they get softer. I don't know what that is about, but it's my hands come out softer than when I wash them with soap. Why that is, I'm not sure. I'm not the scientist, but that's just my personal opinion. And remember, I'm not the expert. I'm just the consumer.
yeah. Well, you know, what I can tell you is that um, basically it's a great cleaner. And you don't have to buy all the, you know, when I talked about $4.99, that's for one cleaner. Now you
Yeah,
have to think about how many you have. You have one for
yeah.
glass, you have one for the surface, you have
Stainless
multiple
steel.
stainless steel. So when you start thinking about all the cleaners that you need, it replaces a lot of that. So the
Yeah,
return on your money from just
yeah.
buying this and using water instead of consumable is tremendous.
Isn't like even like, you know, people now buy a special cleaning for their marble countertops or for the special stone or for their shower or for their sink or the faucets. the amazing thing about this bottle is that you can spray it on anything. I have literally tried everything I can think of, everything I can think of. And there's been no residue, like no damage, no leftover. If anything, one of my favorite things is um I did the test with the typical window cleaner, or not window cleaner, the glass cleaner and the ozone cleaner, and how you like see all the soapy stuff that you have to keep going over and over. And then with
Right.
the ozone, I went one time and it was done. By the way, like, no one said this. I was just testing things out because I myself wanted to keep like sort of proving myself right. I want to find something where it doesn't work. I have yet to find that. So,
Yeah, I used to use it on my, I had a bad habit of writing on the whiteboard all the time. And I could never find a
oh,
little chemical cleaner that always had that little
and it
bottle.
works on that?
It does. It worked really well. So I started to use my ozone bottle to clean my whiteboard. So every day I find another use for it.
That is so cool. Look at that. You just, by the way, that stuff is expensive.
It
So,
is. And the
yeah,
problem is I use it quick and it smells horrible. It's
yeah,
terrible. And
yeah,
I hate that smell. So I thought, well, maybe my bottle will work. And it did. It was
yeah.
fantastic.
You know what? One of the things that I love using it, and I think I told you this before, I used to put everything through the dishwasher, even things I didn't want to put to the dishwasher because I feel like they get banged up against each other sometimes. I love that I can wash the things now in the sink and then I spray it with the ozone and I just like I dry everything with a clean sanitized towel, of course, obviously, and then I put it away. So like I now save time and energy on the dishwasher and I don't have to wait because I'm sanitizing it. Like I do it with my water bottle. I spray the straw. I spray it when I come back from my walk. Like, I mean, it's endless things. And like, yes, of course, you're gonna have all these people saying, like, oh, you're killing all the good bacteria. We're not killing all the bacteria like that. We're just killing the one that could be harmful to us, right? It's like it's
Yeah. Well, I
like
can tell you that one of the common uses that I see my family uses it for is every time they go to the grocery store now, because of everything going on, when they come out, they spray the bags, they spray
same,
everything whenever
same.
they're done. Their groceries, when they get a package outside that's been handed to them, they spray it off. So I
Yep.
see a lot of uses for the bottle now
Yeah.
that, in the way things are going today, the
Yeah.
new normal, the bottles become very much part of everyday use.
So now talking about today, let's quickly touch on the fact that you have a claim on, I'm not even going to try and say what it is. It's the cousin, the sister of COVID. So tell us about that claim. Tell us how that came to be.
Well, first of all, COVID is a disease. So we have to be clear that when you talk about what you're going to do to help the COVID environment, you're really talking about what you're going to do to the virus that's called SARS-CoV-2, which is the
Hmm.
cause of COVID-19. So you're attacking this virus that's going to cause the COVID disease. So people get it confused sometimes and they say,
Hmm.
does it kill COVID-19? Well, COVID-19 is a disease. And what we're trying to do is kill a virus or affect a virus that does lead to COVID, could be part
Exactly.
or a cause of COVID-19. So there's various governmental regulations on how COVID is basically killed. What we claim is that we have tested a surrogate of this virus. So we've taken something that is basically on the molecular level very similar to the SARS-CoV-2. It's called a surrogate, and we've tested that in the lab to see what kind of effectiveness we would have. We've achieved effectiveness over 99.9% in our laboratory, being able to basically kill a surrogate of SARS-CoV-2, which is the virus that is related to COVID-19. So that's how we make the claim. It's based on our internal lab reports, based on our sorry, I have my dogs here as well giving me a hard time
We have
today.
a lot going on. These
Yeah,
conversations are just very casual. Like, listen, there's
exactly.
phones ringing, there's dog comments, there's kids coming.
I have a
It's what it
golden
is.
retriever that wants to contribute to the but
Listen,
basically
I want to point out that what you're using to test the bottle, it's what everybody else uses here to test their product. So it's
right,
not like you got a specific thing versus they're getting a better thing.
correct.
Everyone has to test on the exact same thing. So if somebody else is making a claim saying they kill SARS, CoV-2. Again, you can always correct me. They're using the exact same molecule or whatever it is that you're using.
Very few labs have the actual SARS virus that is for COVID-2 or for COVID-19. So basically, most people are using the surrogate, which is safer to use, and it is basically just as hard to kill. So if you can achieve it with a surrogate and you state that that's what you're killing, you're killing the surrogate that is similar to it and should be as hard to kill as it, then you can make that claim. And that's essentially what we're doing.
Great. And we obviously have a ton of other claims that are all on the website, from Salmonella to E. coli. It's a staph also, right? I think.
Yes. There's many of, particularly the ones that you get from the surface. There's a lot of surface bacteria that's very harmful. E. coli in particular. Just, pretty rampant. Salmonella, it's amazing how many people transmit salmonella, and just think that just by cooking it, that's it. But you've already touched.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. Yeah, somebody kept saying.
Correct.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're already infected. So, we see that as a very common use as well. My wife in particular, she sprays down chicken, all the plates, everything that she's used, and washes her hands. So we still want everybody to follow good practices. Wear a mask, wear a mask, wear a face shield, wash your hands, but use as many safety devices like this that you can as well to hedge your bets.
No, sorry, I just get so excited talking about these things because all these questions come up about why are you spraying your chicken if you're going to cook? And I'm like, you missed the whole point. This isn't about you cooking the chicken through and through. It's the fact that if the chicken came with salmonella and you touched it while preparing it, right? You now transfer that salmonella everywhere. So you might get lucky and you might not get it because you cooked the chicken, but you might not. So this is the whole point. It's the pre-cooking part that's important. It's where that chicken touched. And when you're cooking, the juices go places. So you use this bottle to eliminate the chance of that salmonella going anywhere else. Yes, it's the salmonella most likely dying when you bake your chicken or fry your chicken or cook your chicken. Okay, but that's not what we're talking, because I feel like it gets confused with people on what we're trying to say.
That's exactly right. And another one that's pretty common in the household is Mrsa, particularly with active children that have sporting equipment that get sweaty. And it's basically a great incubation area for Mrsa. And you see a lot of athletes getting Mrsa infection. So, you really want to spray down that athletic wear. And by the way, it does a great job of killing odor as well.
Yes, so, we haven't even touched on odors, right?
Yeah, it's fantastic at killing odor. So, what I see people doing is spraying down sporting equipment, and to some degree, those sweaty shoes, that are being left out. They occasionally get
your hat, by the way, the smelly hats, because you don't really want to put a hat through the washing machine. That's the thing. Like, you just mentioned basically like 3 other products. So let's talk now about the fact that everybody's like, oh, it's so expensive. Listen, it might seem expensive at first, your first time, but it's a one-time purchase. And all you need to do is plug it in and put some water in there, right? Mm-hmm. So if you really do the math, not only are you saving money in the long run especially if you're buying like more eco-friendly type products, not your typical Lysol. If you're buying something like, I don't know, Myers or one of those that are more natural, less harmful, you are definitely going to save more money, and you're being better to the environment. You're not eliminating all of those plastic bottles. Okay, fine. You're going to tell me, because I know what the answer is going to be. Oh, I recycle them. Okay, fine. You threw them in the garbage can that now the guy has to come pick up, go take somewhere, go process that recycling. So guess what? You're still helping by doing just the one bottle, because you're eliminating all of that carbon footprint. Not only getting rid of the plastic, but you're also eliminating it coming to the store where you go buy it and pick it up. So there's a whole larger picture to it all. You can't just think about it of like one price. You got to think about the overall picture. If you do care about the environment, if you care about the earth, if you care about the future for our children, for our grandchildren, great grandkids, right? to leave them on Earth that it's livable. So
Yeah,
sorry, I just went on a rant.
what I urge people to do is just think about how much you spent this month buying product, sanitizing.
If you can get
product.
it, by the way, if you can get it.
Another great point is you never have to worry about that if you have a bottle.
Yeah, you just need tap water or, bottled water if you happen to not have the right tap water, which, by the way, in very, very rare cases, some homes have a little bit of a harsher water, which we've talked about. And we don't recommend, right, that you use distilled water also because it could damage the cell. Is that correct?
Right. We want you to use just normal tap water.
Exactly. And not hot.
It'll be fine. The colder, the better.
Exactly. Well, I think we've covered it all. I've gone on my rants. I was trying to convince everybody. I swear to God, it's like my life's mission is to just get people to stop using chemicals. And I went somewhere the other day where they had just used something to clean. I had to leave. I can smell it through my mask. And
Wow.
I think because I have desensitized myself from those smells now, I got a headache. And it's amazing how we have let ourselves get used to smelling these type of things that are just not good for us, So
yeah, we're programmed to the smell of the perfume. That's how they get us to continue to buy. Did you ever ask yourself, how do I know that bleach and some of these other things work?
I know somebody asked that the other day. They're like, how do I know your product works? And I go, well, how do you know bleach works? How do you know Lysol works? How do you know Tyler? How do you know?
From great marketing, they tell you that it does, and it smells great. You know that you equate the smell to working, right? And whereas we have to publish all the results over and over again and try to get people to study them to make them understand, we don't have the advantage that the big chemical companies have of spending $30-40 million in advertising to convince you that perfume actually means it's clean.
Yeah.
Instead of saying, we have MIT science behind ours that we're willing to show you, people will say, well, I don't smell it. So, it's really a question of being out marketed by big chemical companies.
And by the way, we're not saying it doesn't work. Their products work, but you should read the small print and understand how it's supposed to work to achieve the 99.99 they're claiming. Because that's the biggest part of it all. It's like, yes, it smells bad. We're not saying it doesn't work, but you should understand how you're supposed to use it to make it work to the extent that they're claiming on their front label.
You have to use products as directed.
Yep.
And it's very important that everything is, in fact, you'll always see a little sentence on the back of a bottle that says, when used as directed. So it's very important to do that. And quite honestly, most people don't.
Yeah. And for us, we just charge our bottle, we fill it up with water, and we just hose away. I mean, I love spraying it away. And
30 seconds is a short period of time.
Yeah, very short period of time. And to me, you cannot convince me of anything else but the fact that there is nothing harmful to that water that's sitting on that surface, right? Those droplets, there's nothing that can harm you. I mean, that is priceless. You can't look at a price tag when you're understanding the technology. And by the way, now that we have you here explaining how it all happened, how do you not run and go get one? So we will see.
It's my wish that everybody have one.
Yeah, no, we will get there. We're just going to keep educating people, and we're going to keep coming in here, and we're going to keep answering the questions, and we're going to keep telling you, go check out our website, go check out our claims. And once again, for all of those of you who are not US or Canada, you can find the bottle. It's called Enozo. And it would be, do they search Enozo Home, right?
It would be enozo.com.
Enozo.com. And then you can find
Ozone. Of course, Enozo is just ozone spelled backwards. So it's easy to remember.
I know. I always forget that. Isn't that cool? So anyways, thank you, Wayne. And sorry, guys, there might have been some interruptions in the middle of this conversation, but that's just, the new way of having been doing all these things from home with families and pets and all of it. So thank you again, and stay safe and have a great day.
You too. Take care.